Yes, good evening, my esteemed panelists. Rahul, about 2 days ago, I
I
said
said
that
that the Hindus are second-class citizens. I apologize for that remark. I was wrong. The Hindus are third-class citizens. If it isn't that they have been subjected to this cruel and barbaric Places of Worship Act, if it isn't that their temples are under the control exclusively of the government, if it isn't that their idols and deities are being shamelessly desecrated as claimed by Mr. Jain, then surely the very fact that a religion whose dogma ordains that Hindus are the worst of creatures, that Kafirs must be obliterated, annihilated, that very religion and the people who worship in that religion are conducting prayers at a place that was clearly built upon demolishing a Hindu temple. What more extreme provocation evidence do you need? I don't understand this. In which country? Let me give you an example. If I, as a Hindu, was chanting Hanuman Chalisa in a temple that was built upon a demolished mosque, would my friends here, Mr. Menon, would he not be provoked? Would it not be an egregious act on my part? It is astonishing. What kind of country is this? मेरी समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. Or number two, with due respect to Mr. Jain, who is clearly, as you said, brilliant and is taking up the side, his side, I have to say what I said on the first day of the debate, Rahul, that unfortunately Hindus have fallen into this trap of proving whether a shivling exists or not. It is immaterial to their case, totally immaterial, because the fact remains that in order to prove whether that indeed is a shivling or not, you cannot do carbon dating because it is a non-living thing. You cannot do radioactive dating because the stone will be possibly of millions of years old. It has to be, the evidence has to be textual or anecdotal. And in both cases, the evidence does not exist. But the fact of the matter is, why go to the extent of proving shivling right or wrong? You know from Masir Alamgiri, you know from all the surrounding primary sources that this indeed was a temple and it was demolished by Aurangzeb. And on top of that was the mosque that was built, Gyanvapi Mosque. So two things must happen immediately. Even though I am not Aurangzeb, I am going to demolish your argument. Just please have patience for 1 minute. No. Rahul, yes, two things must happen immediately. Number one, all prayers by people professing the faith of Islam must stop immediately at Gyanvapi Mosque. It is, to my mind, and it is an extreme provocation. And number two, because a BJP spokesperson is there, I implore him to put the Places of Worship Act in immediate abeyance. You cannot have a barbaric Places of Worship Act in regulation and in use at this time of the day. Now let me come to Mr. Ambedkar, who reminds me of Guido in 8.5 of Fellini. I have nothing to say, but I'll say it anyway. Number one, Mr. Ambedkar, let me ask you one question because you represent AIMIM, and there are two other fellow Muslims on this panel. Do you believe, straight question hai, himmat hai to answer kariyega, do you believe that Ahmadiyyas are Muslims, yes or no? And number two, if a Buddhist temple or shrine was demolished by Aurangzeb and a mosque built on it, and there was confirmatory evidence that yes, indeed that was the case, would you not want that Buddhist temple to be returned to Buddhists?
Saying here that the matter in the court is only about whether women devotees can actually go and pray or not. The fact is, when the videos are out, the proof is in the court, at least जो दिख रहा है उसमें भी आंखें बंद कर लेंगे. हम नहीं कह रहे कि कोर्ट ने कह दिया शिवलिंग है या फवारा है, कोर्ट ही तय करेगा. But to see something and have an ostrich existence, is that reasonable or logical?
Navika, let me say vocally, the fact that so many Hindu symbols, remnants, shivling, lotuses are found in a mosque is a little like somebody is broadcasting azan from the top of a mosque and suddenly Hanuman Chalisa's verses start coming on. It's a bit like that. Isn't that odd? But, 2 weeks ago, Navika, on your channel, in fact, on your show, I said that Hindus in this country are second-class citizens. Last week, I apologized. I said I was wrong. Hindus are third-class citizens. And tonight, I apologize again. And I say, Navika, I am so sorry. Hindus are not third-class citizens. Hindus are fourth-class citizens in this country. Let me give you 4 reasons why I say this. Number one, in no other country is the majority population still refugees in their own land, like 5 lakh Kashmiri Pandits are, Kashmiri Hindus are for 30 years. In no other country can the sitting Supreme Court judge say that too much time has elapsed and I'm not going to reopen the cases of atrocities against these people who have faced this terrible hardship and exodus. Number two, in no other country is the state and the government rampantly, exclusively controlling only Hindu places of worship and leeching billions of it by leaving mosques, churches and gurdwaras off its tentacles. Number three, in no other country can there be an act that denies blatantly and cruelly the majority population from seeking justice to correct historical injustice and reclaim their own places of worship. And number four, this is the most cruel of all, and this is contemporary, Navika. In no other country can the people professing a faith that says Hindus, i.e. polytheists, are the worst of creatures, continue to offer their prayer and namaz at a place which is clearly built upon a demolished Hindu temple. If this isn't extreme provocation, I don't know what is. First things first, I don't know whether this controversy will be resolved today, tomorrow, in a decade or something, but at least to assuage the sentiments of the Hindus, at least stop offering namaz at that place. Now that you know, even if shivling might be disputed, there are other Hindu remnants that are not, that are beyond dispute. So please, as a sign of good faith, at least stop offering namaz there. But no. This is why I'm saying, having given 4 reasons, Navika, just 30 seconds, I want to tell you the cruelty that this state institutionally inflicts on the Hindus, and Hindus keep quiet, including my good friend Gaurav, who belongs to the world's largest Hindutva party. Let me quote verbatim from the Ayodhya judgment of 2019 of Supreme Court, where it willfully has ratified the Places of Worship Act. I'm quoting from it now. The Place of Worship Act is thus a legislative intervention which preserves non-retrogression as an essential feature of our secular values. It is intrinsically related to the obligations of a secular state. It reflects the commitment of India to the equality of all religions. Secular values, secular state, equality of religion. इससे ज़्यादा शर्मनाक बात, I'm sorry to say, क्या हो सकती है? They might hold me in contempt of court. But I have to say this, my lords, you are calling secular values equality of religion when you are physically preventing a majority Hindus from approaching you to demand justice legally. How can this be equality? How can this be secularism? गौरव जी की मैं बहुत कदर करता हूं, ये मेरे बड़े भाई की तरह हैं, लेकिन मैंने 4 पॉइंट्स रखे, मैं ये बताना चाहता हूं, हो सकता है all of us like him are waiting for BJP to gain majority. जैसे ही बीजेपी मेजॉरिटी में आएगी वैसे ये सब स्टेप्स उठाने लग जाएंगे. लेकिन जो 4 पॉइंट्स मैंने रखे हैं नाविका, लेट मी रीइटरेट विद इन 5 सेकंड्स. एक सेकंड गौरव भाई प्लीज.
नहीं और कितने में जाएंगे आप बीजेपी के लिए? बाकी लोग भी बैठे हैं भाई, एंड आपके कितने बड़े भाई हैं?
नहीं, let me just ask him what things he pointed out. If there
yes, I'm just pointing exactly. मैं आपको point, yes, मैं वो, yeah, thank you. Number one, 5 लाख कश्मीरी पंडित्स 30 साल से रेफ्यूजीज हैं. आपने कोई ऐसी इजरायली लाइक सेटलमेंट नहीं बनाई जहां पे आज ही इनफैक्ट स्कूल टीचर कश्मीरी हिंदू और डोगरा हिंदू मिस रजनी बाला हैज बीन शॉट इन द हेड, पिक्ड आउट एंड शॉट इन द हेड. Every day there are some persecutions that are happening. Number 2, आपकी सरकार है, आपके हाथ में था कि आप एंडाउमेंट टेम्पल्स एक्ट एब्रोगेट करें, नहीं, आप और टेम्पल्स को कंट्रोल कर रहे हैं. Number 3, आपके हाथ में, ऐसे तहसीन भी कह रहा है कि आप प्लेस ऑफ वर्शिप एक्ट को एब्रोगेट करें, नहीं, आप सुप्रीम कोर्ट गए, चलिए दूसरी बात है. Number 4, तहसीन इज राइट. अगर यूपी में योगी आदित्यनाथ जी चाहें तो वो वहां पे नमाज बंद करवा सकते हैं. तो जो 4 पॉइंट्स मैंने कोट किए.
Ranganathan, I don't know if you heard the Prime Minister today. He spoke in Tamil.
Yes.
He also spoke in English. One is, of course, the link language, and Tamil, of course, is an eternal language, as he said. Yet we had seen the Chief Minister of the state a little while before that picking once again at the seams of a debate that the Prime Minister himself has taken pains to settle. Do you believe that the Prime Minister's Sabka Saath message has been either lost in translation or it is being deliberately being disregarded.
Rahul, there are two issues here, and I'm afraid you're absolutely right. This whole issue is being sadly really politicized, because no language should be imposed, and no one is imposing it. This kind of scaring should end. And I say this, Rahul, as a proud Tamilian. Look, India does not have a national language. And I think that itself explains to a great extent our incredible and beautiful diversity and culture. Hindi along with English is our official language. It is another matter that the architect of our constitution, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, wanted Sanskrit to be our official language. I quote him, quote, Sanskrit should be the language of the Indian Union. For the first 15 years after independence, English could be used as an official language, but Sanskrit should be used as a parallel. After 15 years, Sanskrit should be made the official language of the Union, unquote. I wonder what Chief Minister Stalin would say to Dr. Ambedkar, unquote. Anyhow, Rahul, I am not much of an admirer of any one language over another. To me, all languages are beautiful. They are an incredible endowment of human evolution. They reflect human ingenuity and diversity. There exist around 8,000 languages. And remember, languages like species die out all the time. In the last 50 years, 310 languages have become extinct. But the ideas that were conveyed through those languages never do. They jump ship, fall in love, not with just a language, but with the philosophy and the science and the literature written in it. Protect works before words. Left to me, Rahul, C++ is as beautiful as Tamil or Punjabi, although I do not know any swear words in C++.